Better Together podcast.
Welcome to the Better Together podcast from the Fuquay Varina Chamber of Commerce. We are recording today from the Dashmore Conference Room and Studio, sponsored by Rescued Wood Rehab. The Better Together podcast highlights local businesses each week as the Fuquay Varina Chamber of Commerce continues to promote an amazing business community. I am Marty Woodward from Rescue Wood Rehab, and I am joined by the fabulous co-host here, Brad Marshall from Greater Culture CrossFit here in Fuquay Varina. Hey, Brad.
Hey, Marty. How are we doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm super excited about our guest today.
I know.
I cannot wait to hear some amazing stories. The conversation before the podcast always leads into great conversation during the podcast. So let's get that going, Brad.
Well, I'll give you a teaser here. If you got any physical ailments, pain, things that you might be dealing with, you're going to want to listen to today's podcast because today we are joined by Colton Owczarzak from Iron Varsity. And so we're really excited to dive in. So Colton, thanks so much for spending some time with us on the podcast today.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm really excited to be here. Just grateful for the opportunity and just be able to have some good conversation today.
Yeah, and so Colton, you and I, we've known each other for a little while now, and you're a physical therapist here in Fuquay Varina and dabble in a variety of movement and fitness endeavors. So I'm excited to get into some of those. But tell us a little bit about Iron Varsity and how you found yourself into getting into physical therapy.
Yeah, so physical therapy in general, I mean, I knew I wanted to be in the medical field growing up, knew what I wanted. I loved health and fitness as well, so I figured out how to best combine that. Physical therapy was the best way to go. One of the big things that I kind of had come about that really solidified PT was movement efficiency and performance. I was a swimmer. I grew up as a water polo player. Didn't know what a weight room was like in those times. It was never taught. Was never had the door open on that one. So I was the skinny kid that didn't know, like just kind of floating and swimming in the pool. So then once I found a weight room and like moved off to college, that really is where my performance continued to take off. But I learned a lot of, I didn't know foundational lifts and movements, and that kind of put my career to an end there. And so then that transformed into more solidification for physical therapy. Fortunately, I didn't need it myself, but it was definitely something I kind of wish I knew I could have access to at the time, just to help move better.
Yeah, water polo is an interesting sport to me, where you get a bunch of guys or girls in the pool, put a ball in there, put a net in there, and now it's like you're basically trying to drown each other, more or less, is what it looks like on TV.
Yeah.
And then it's like, no, let me get my head above water and throw this ball in a net. How did you get into water polo?
I knew I loved to be in the pool. I loved swimming, and I had grown up playing baseball my entire life. I did karate. I just kind of found the team out and was like, oh, let's give this a shot and see how it goes. And yeah, you get to drown each other, you get to swim after people, you get to, I always tell people there's two sports. There's above water and there's below water. And if they could have a good game of water polo, you can see, like, if you're ever watching on TV, you can see what's going on above. They'll show angles of what's going on below because, you know, you think you're doing things with your hands, you're doing things with your feet as well, and you're trying to drown people or you're trying to take the ball, and it's a wild sport. I truly love it and enjoy it.
Man. I feel like we only see it around the Olympics every 4 years. You get a chance to get a glimpse into what that world's like, but fun sport. I know you still like to participate in sports as well. So as a physical therapist, for folks who may not be familiar, what does the education process look like? And then talk to us a little bit about what you typically are seeing when it comes to working with clients or people who come to visit you.
Yeah, so, I mean, the big education piece is your pain is not forever. Your pain is something that can be resolved and absolved. It's just a matter of, one, how hopeful are you? Where is your hope at? What have you been told? What have you experienced? What are your beliefs? Because all of those things play a factor into that. It's not as simple as, well, I tore my biceps tendon and, or I tore a muscle. Like, pain is much more complicated than that. I wish it was that simple of a simple change, or you could go to surgery and wake up feeling great, but it's generally not how it happens all the time. There are cases where it does. The big thing is just trying to give people hope. Hope for a better future, hope for a better life, hope that they can still do the activities that they truly enjoy. One of my recent cases has been a patient who, and he's fully allowed me to talk about as much about it as I want to. He's a former bodybuilder back in the 90s, and he's gotten to a point where he just wants to be able to move again. I've been working with him the last several weeks. Before, he couldn't lift his arms above his shoulders. He's now almost fully there to about 180 degrees of overhead. I don't know if we'll fully get to 100, full straight overhead press or getting him to a clean and jerk or anything like that. But, he's come out and he's told me about how, like, things is such as simple as, like, being able to put on a jacket again by himself, being able to put on a belt by himself without assistance and help, just being able to just do yard work, simple things that he's loved and enjoyed that sometimes get pushed by the wayside because it's like, oh, well, I can't do that anymore.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you don't realize how much you appreciate it till it's gone or till there's some pain or discomfort or something, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, like getting up and out of bed in the morning or picking up my kids or doing chores around the house are much more complicated. That's usually when people come to see a physical therapist. So talk to us a little bit about what is that experience or journey like. So if somebody reaches out to you and says, hey, got something going on in my back, got something going on in my shoulders. Talk to us a little bit about what's that experience like of working with you at Iron Varsity.
Yeah. So big thing is kind of diving into, like, how does that pain affect your life? Where does that, because that is going to be important into keeping you, one, motivated, but also seeing how you want to address symptoms. Some people come in and they're ready to just get rid of their pain and then they just want to go off on their life. Some people are like, man, I can't play with my grandkids. I can't play with my kids. I have had to give up, X activity. So we really get into the first thing I go for is the why. Why is this important for you to address? I understand, nobody wants to live in pain. Pain is kind of an inevitable thing that we're going to go through. It's going to come in waves. The hope is, and the ideal is that it doesn't last forever, but we really want to find out why is this important for you to address, because that's going to be important into the key process of moving forward. Once we get that kind of down, we look at what both globally and then locally, how does your pain affect you? So we look at local. We look at, the traditional things of when you bend forward, it's your back, we look at if you bend forward, touch your toes, or if you lean back or turn around, how do those things affect? We also take it a step further, and if you're into, say, CrossFit, we look at, okay, what lifts are typically most bothersome for you? And truly, the question becomes is it coming from your back? Is it coming from your back? Is it coming from something else? One of my most relatable things is, typically, it's not the back when it comes to lifting. It's usually your hips. Your hips are your limiting factor, and your back makes up for the lack of hip mobility or whatever limitations that exist. So as we kind of continue to explore that, from there, once we figure out what your limitations are and how that affects your performance, we then create a custom plan to be able to give you, okay, we can purely focus on just addressing your pain and we can get you going. We can take it one step further and get some better foundational movements going, or we can go further beyond that. And because we take a full head to toe approach, we can really help and make sure that not only are you just moving better from what you came in for originally, but you are moving better in all other aspects of life. So the more time we get to work with you, the more time that we can really help get you set off and get you on the right ship and to sail along the way you want to go.
Yeah, I think it's really helpful to give people that idea of, if you are experiencing something, discomfort, pain, whatever, that there's people you can reach out to. They can help you navigate that journey, ideally get you out of pain, get you back to doing things you love. And I imagine as you've enjoyed this journey of starting Iron Varsity and working with people, there's been some challenges along the way. So can you speak to some of the challenges maybe you faced as a business owner in the physical therapy world?
Yeah. First one, big one, is, do you take insurance? The multi-million-dollar question everyone always asks me right away. First question out of the gate. The answer is no. There's many reasons to it. I could write a book on how long, on the reasons why you don't work with insurance, and it's just a difficult process, both as a provider, but then also as a patient. You're limited to so many visits. You still got to fork out more money to them at the end of the day, and that's no guarantee that things are going to be better. And there's certain time constraints with all that. So there's that aspect. There's been seeing that, having people see that because I'm not an in-network provider, I don't take insurance, that I'm affordable. I like to, one way I'll pose it to people is think about the money you'll spend versus the amount of money that you make it work. So it's kind of like if this pain takes you out of work, how much money are you out? The amount is almost insignificant that that you would lose if you were pulled out of work for any reason, if this took you out, or even having to go forth into surgery. I mean, and then the last thing is just with that, it's just kind of get my name out there. Mm-hmm. Just trying to talk to people, get to know people. So I'm always happy to make new friends, learn, whether it's clinicians, coaches, other medical professionals. We're all here to just do our best to meet people and make people better.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge piece of it is as a business owner, one, you want to let people know you exist and you're there. And so you've been around the chamber here and getting involved with different events and things like that. And then number two, once they come find you, having those conversations of the value that you're bringing in and how you might be able to help them solve those mm-hmm. challenges that they might have. And when you start to think about what makes your business unique, you already highlighted the one that you don't take insurance, so that's an out-of-pocket type mm-hmm. of experience. Are there any other unique aspects of the way that you operate or work with folks as a physical therapist compared to maybe some others that they might see or interact with?
Yeah, so big thing for me is, the age group expands from youth athletes all the way up into, I call them the forever athletes. Basically anybody that wants to stay active as much as they can forever. We take a full head-to-toe approach. So yes, I'll look at your shoulder pain or your back pain or your hip pain more locally and specifically, but I want to see how you move from head to toe, because that's going to give me a picture of how do you operate in daily life. You're more than just your shoulder, you're more than just your back pain, you're more than just your hip pain. How do I see how you're functioning? Because there may be things that I see movements and I'm like, oh, you talked about how it bothers you when you're lifting, when your back pain bothers you when you're lifting. How does that affect you with your playing with your kids? How does that affect you in other ways of life? Because then that, again, the more we can connect those things, the more you can see those tiny bits of improvement as things progress. Because things may go a little slow. It takes some time. It's a true lifestyle change at the end of the day that can really help. So
you talk about kind of identifying an opportunity for someone, mm-hmm. and then you put together a plan, mm-hmm. I'm assuming. So kind of give us an idea what does that service look like? How does that plan come together? And then, how do you set goals with an individual who might want to retain your services?
Yeah. So with the plans that we can offer, we have we have various packages just based on it. I take into consideration what's going on, what's the primary addressment we want to deal with. Generally, how long does that take to change an effect, whether it's if you just had surgery all the way up into this, I had an ankle sprain, or this has been going on for the last 10 years. So I take the time of how long something's been going on for. I take the time into consideration of knowing how long it's going to take to get better from that. And then I lay out, okay, well, what does life look like for you pain-free? And then from there, I can give a couple of different plan options. Usually it's either 3, 6, 12, or even 18 sessions. It just depends on how far you kind of want to go, how far you want to take this. The more time we have to spend together, the more time that we can achieve more, and we can take our time getting there. The less sessions together, the more we're trying to be direct, efficient, get things addressed very quickly and efficiently. That it's going to require a lot more on your behalf to do.
And I would assume you provide those individuals you work with additional strategies to carry forward, even when they're not meeting with you. What are some of those things that you you can offer in terms of stretching exercises and those kind of things that people take away typically?
Yeah, so I'll send, following our evaluations, I'll also send kind of like a traditional thing is a home exercise program. My big thing is just it's simply just a modified workout program, or a warm up is what I'll call it for most people, because generally most people are pretty active in something. So I find out how can you integrate this into your schedule. Where in your life can you put this that it's not going to take you much time, that it's really simple to do? So if it's, before CrossFit or before any other activity, playing with your kids, or that you got to watch the kids or take care of the grandkids, I should say. What things can you do to prepare before you go, or at the end of your day when you're just kind of coming down? Okay, we'll do some more kind of like cool downs for the end of the day or anything like that. So really building into the schedule. It's a plan to build some exercises out, and we kind of just go from there.
I'm going to throw you a little bit of a curveball here, but kind of growing up as an athlete, and we always stretched out before we worked out, and it's something you go, oh yeah, I should stretch before I do this. Of course we don't. We just go pick up whatever the heck we need to pick up and whatever, and we lift with our back in one jerky motion. And if you're talking to someone about what are some things to take through life, what pieces of advice would you offer people for anything to maintain themselves better and maybe not have to come to you one day?
Yeah. Mobility is key. I mean, focus on, yes, stretching is helpful. Stretching is not going to get rid of your pain all the time. So the question you have to ask yourself, and you have to ask any coach you're working with, is why is your pain there? One example I give is, I call it ghost tightness. So I've dealt with cheerleaders, gymnasts, dancers. They can do full splits. They still complain of tight hamstrings. Generally, they don't have tight hamstrings. So what becomes the cause? Well, if you don't have tight hamstrings, most likely, and generally, when I test them, it's been a strength issue. It's been a weakness issue. So the hamstrings, for example, if we're sticking with this one, is they feel tight because they don't know how to operate when you do splits. They don't know how to operate in the long stretched positions. Or in the opposite end of the spectrum, you don't have the mobility and you're forcing your body into a position it doesn't like. Take for a squat, for example, you put 200 pounds on the bar and then you squat trying to push your butt all the way to the ground. It's going to take a toll on your hips, and your body is going to feel crunched under 200 pounds. Not going to be the greatest. So pay attention to what pain feels like, and know that stretching's not always the answer, but finding out address your mobility.
Yeah.
So always, and then the last thing I would say is just overall changing the narrative on exercise. Participating in exercise is like investing into your physical retirement. So if you put money away financially for your retirement to live life the way you want, exercise is that same kind of mode and method for your physical aspect. If you want to be active with your kids, grandkids, great grandkids one day, exercise will be of benefit to you for that longevity standpoint, and ideally keep you out from having to see me. I want to sell myself out of business because people are doing so well that they don't have to come see me.
Yeah, sure. And, kind of on that point, what differentiates you from your competitors? You talked a little bit about that.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a reason, that somebody should come to Iron Varsity versus maybe going and finding some other physical therapist to do other things?
Yeah, so two of the big things that I have are sports movement assessments. So looking at how you move, whether it's in general lifting or up into athletes that are participating in their sports. I also do a performance physical. So I test everything from speed and agility up into endurance, and I kind of track that as frequently as a quarterly. We do it at least once a year. I have a couple clients who I do it once a year with, just to see, is your training doing what it's supposed to be doing? And it's allowing people to take it back to their coaches to say, hey, This is where, we're trying to focus on improving our endurance. Your endurance has improved. Great. It's a great program. Here's where you keep going. Okay, your endurance hasn't improved so much. What's kind of going on? Is it coach programming, or is it participation? Is it like what isn't working that we need to address and highlight? So those are the two probably biggest things that, I'll go back to my youth athletes. Were either of you taught how to run or jump?
Mm-mm.
No. I mean, there are, if you want to ever watch something, watch as you're driving down the road, watch people run. Watch how many variations you'll see. I don't claim to be a perfectionist, and you really got to appreciate, at the end of the day, people's anatomy. It's like appreciating art. Everyone has their different styles. They have their different ways that they like to draw. They try to appreciate the human body, and you two, for example, you have different anatomies that you've developed over time. You fundamentally have the same basics.
This one's been well fed.
Well fed,
This one's been well
managed.
fed.
That's just a little extra protection cushion. So hey,
Oh,
I
that's
got
what
the
it
same
is.
thing.
I'm sticking with that. Yeah.
So you got to appreciate the anatomy and just trying to help. Who is in front of you, not what generally happens. Because we are all human, but we've all developed very differently as time has gone on.
Yeah, I love the approach of focusing on the individual like that, because everybody is a little different in how you do that. Obviously, you've been getting involved with the Chamber of Commerce, and thank you for being here today. Any other community involvement or special initiatives you have coming up here in the future?
Yeah, so been partnering and working more with McKinsey Therapeutics. Been offering some
love Nikki.
Yeah, we've been offering some more dry needling for her clients, just to help in another alternative way for whether it's a while since they can't get in with her. She's a very popular woman. She's excellent in what she does. Massive shout out. It's just another alternative to treatment and be able to help kind of experienced patients. Also educating then people on dry needling. There's a lot of variations. There's a lot of styles out there about how dry needling, differences versus acupuncture versus dry needling. Similar-ish, but there are differences. So communicating that. The other one is a partnership that I have up in Apex with the Performance Academy. They're a baseball-specific clinic. We have helped provide seasonal screening for their athletes. So each year, as they start their spring ball, their fall ball, even their summer ball, we test athletes before their season, after their season, so we know how athletes are tracking and maintaining in their performance, just to keep guys healthy. You got to know how you're tracking. You got to know how you're trending, and it's very important, especially when all I see is overuse injuries from youth athletes. That's at least a majority of what I continue to see. So this helps reduce that down. Not completely preventable, but helps reduce it down. So those are two of the big projects. I'm continuing excited about more, trying to boost up more of the physical performance testing. So the annual kind of test of, here's a picture of how your overall health and wellness is from a physical performance side. Take it to your coach, take it to whomever you wish that you're working with, and let them help program your improvements. See where you want to go. We offer that. We can help with that as well. We have a smaller facility, so it's a little bit more difficult. I'm all about giving people information so that they can upgrade their performance and take it to the next level.
Yeah, one of the things I love is the connection with other folks in the community, trying to help people be happier and healthier. And then the performance aspect is unique. So I think so many times we go to the doctor and we get some of the biomarkers of like, hey, what's your blood work look like? What's your blood pressure? But to see then, hey, physically, what are you capable of doing? And is it in line with what you want to be able to do? So I think that's really cool to have an ability to track that over time. And I imagine as you've continued to build your business, there's been, different challenges and lessons learned and things like that. So when you start to think about how things have run with Iron Varsity, what are some of the lessons that you've learned about running a small business here in the local community?
Just being able to be open, connect, and get out there. You got to be willing to take risks. You got to be willing to put yourself out there in different ways. I'm rather a shy individual. I don't like to make connections. I don't do large in groups, but man, have I been able to, just put myself out there in the Chamber of Commerce, and there's a local B&I group and different other events that have gone on. Looking forward to the summit that's coming up. Just to be able to connect and meet more people. That's been a big learning curve that I've always been nervous about, so I'm definitely happy to get to do that more. Yeah, so that's probably one of my biggest ones. And then the other one would say communicating the why. The why is important. Somebody referred me a book recently. It's called Start With Why by Simon Sinek. Great book. It's been pivotal to how I've been trying to communicate and trying to improve the communication of why do I do what I do, and why is it important for those individuals, because your why is what's going to motivate you and it's what's going to keep you moving. Learning those two things has always been nerve-wracking, but I try to perform every day.
Yeah, I think those are two really big pieces that I think anyone can take with them, aspiring entrepreneur or not. Of one, you do have to get involved in the community. People got to get to know you. You got to get to know them, figure out ways you can connect and help each other, because I think everybody wants to see each other lifted up here. And then, yeah, the book by Simon Sinek, I'm a big fan of that one too, of understanding your why, which leads into how you do what you do, which is eventually leads into what you do, which is what everyone sees. But people tend to connect a little bit more with understanding the why for what drives you and what connects them. So I love those pieces. When you start to think about what you're excited about, whether it's upcoming projects, goals, things like that, you mentioned that you're continuing to partner with the local performance academies, you're partnering up with Nikki, some other things like that. Other things that you're trying to do to, improve your work as a physical therapist, or things you're continuing to upskill yourself in?
Just continue to learn what more equipment and what more advanced technologies are out there to help people to be more efficient in the process. I utilize force plates to help give a picture about how people perform when they jump, and then I'm learning how to better video record. I'm not the greatest when it comes to social media and that sort of thing. It's kind of ironic for me being as young as I am in the generation I was born into, but I am terrible with it. So just trying to learn how to better perform in those sorts of things. Just the basics, man. The basics is where it's at. We want to get to the advanced, the fun stuff so quickly, and we sometimes just forget about start with the basics.
Yeah, you gotta take care of those little details, and that's one of the things of being in business. It's all that little stuff, It's not all the little stuff that gets in our way. So hey, you're here in the Fuquay Varina community, and you got any other local spots that you like when you're not trying to make sure that somebody can flex and stretch properly? Do you have any other local spots you like to hang out?
Yeah, well, so I'm in the same space, but I do hang out a lot with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys at Shell Shock. They've been a very welcoming family, and their motto is not all family is blood, and that truly rings out with them. They're a truly welcoming spot. Serenity Brews, who's inside Church Alive, they've been awesome to hang out. Nice, quiet place. It's a coffee shop I can walk within walking distance of them. I've gone there, and I've gone Cultivate. I've been at Brad's gym, Greater Culture, for before, and it's just been awesome just to be able to hang out and get to know those people.
So I got to ask, are those really real weights that Brad's lifting on video? Because it looks like he does it so easy. I figure those are like rubber styrofoam or something.
There's a storage room in the back that I haven't seen open.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know what's back there, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, just
I'm
throwing
the fifth on that
throwing
one.
300 pounds up in the air, and I'm like, I don't think so, Brad.
Hollow plates.
Those are hollow plates?
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, made of styrofoam. So, what's the best piece of business advice you've ever received, Colton?
Be willing to take risks. If you're scared, if you're nervous, just be willing, take the jump. It's better off, because if you're not willing to do it, somebody else will. Somebody else will put the time in, somebody else will put the effort in, somebody else will make the first jump if you're not willing to. So be that person. It's how I live my day every day, is just be willing to take the first jump, because in the first step, no matter how scary it is.
That's fantastic. So, if you could share, is there like one surprising, crazy thing that, being in physical therapy, that people would be surprised that happens in your business?
Man, that's a good question. I could give a plethora of stories of just patient successes, and I think it's truly how resilient the human body is. Like just how, I mean, our bodies are, I don't know how to describe it. Like it's like the way our body can recover and move back. And I know there's a lot of heartache and a lot of things that can happen to the body that seem unknown or be really detrimental to health and life. But also like the human body is just truly a piece of work, and how it rebuilds itself, connects, moves. I mean, whether it's weightlifting or any of the Olympic stuff, just watch how people move. Watch the diversity in their movement. It truly is a spectacle. Take a dancer, how they move is quite amazing. I don't know, it's amazing. I'll nerd out on that stuff all day. It's like appreciating art. That's my art, is appreciating how the body moves. It's cool to throw up 300 pounds. I definitely commend Brad for being able to do that. I personally can't do that, but it's okay. But just the ability to do that, how the body does that, how each individual does that, is truly amazing.
Yeah, I can sense the passion that you have and the excitement you have for helping people to be able to go do whatever their version of something that's hard and challenging and difficult, and getting them back to doing that consistently is such a cool thing. And so for folks out there who are interested to connect with you and reach out, what are the best ways for folks to connect and find where you're at?
Definitely look on my website, ironvarsity.com. I'm working on my social media, so hopefully people can find that a little more entertaining than what it currently is. So be kind and gracious on that one. Those are probably the two biggest ones. If you're ever interested in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and want to come hang out at the gym, there's a variety of people who just do it for fun, do it with their kids. Come hang out and definitely enjoy what the gym hosts. So always happy to talk and meet in person too. I love to connect with people.
Yeah, and connecting is one of the main pieces with the Chamber of Commerce. You've certainly been very active in the different events and opportunities to reach out with other members. So from your perspective, what's been some of the best or the best part about being involved with the Chamber of Commerce here in Fuquay?
Yeah, I mean, the activity, like the amount of events, the offerings, podcast today, the various ribbon cuttings, just how supportive everybody is. I come from the other side of the country. My parents, were part of their chamber back in a hometown in Hollister. The chamber is not nearly as active, and it doesn't matter how many of the same professionals are in the chamber. Everyone is welcoming, even the same people in your same line of work. And that truly is just an amazing thing to be able to have. It's truly unique. It's been an awesome experience just to feel so welcomed into the area. I didn't grow up in the area. I'm not from the area, but I'm made to feel that way. And the chamber has truly helped with all of the events that they have had, and then even more to come. So I'm excited to continue to see how the chamber continues to grow.
Yeah, I think as the chamber grows and Fuquay grows and everybody's connecting in the community, it does feel like there's still a tight-knit group here that feels like it's personable. You get to know people, you get to know other businesses, and you like doing business with people that you know. So I certainly can highlight that. And so, well, Colton, thanks so much for being on the podcast today, part of Iron Varsity. It's been great to hear your story and the passion you have for helping people. And I think our listeners are going to really appreciate getting to know you a little bit better and hear what you get to do over there with Iron Varsity.
Most definitely. Thank you so much.
Colton, we appreciate it, and thank you to our listeners. Join us each week on the Better Together podcast from the Fuquay Varina Chamber of Commerce as we highlight a great local business. From the Dashmore Conference Room and Studio, sponsored by Rescue Wood Rehab, I am Marty.
And I'm Brad.
And we are Better Together.
We're better together. It's a weekly podcast. We're better together. You should know that there's more in the dash. We're better together. Fuquay Varina, Chamber of Commerce. We're better together. Podcast.